The dragon had expected pain. It lay inside a vast containment chamber built from lead alloy and glowing energy fields. The air smelled of burned metal and old fear. The walls still carried scars from when the dragon had been forced inside, deep claw marks, melted seams, places where fire had once tried to escape and failed. Across the galaxy, this dragon was known as a living catastrophe. Entire fleets had vanished in its shadow. Planets remembered it as a name spoken only in warnings. It had been hunted, trapped, and dragged here because no one believed such a creature could ever be allowed to roam free. The dragon waited for what always came next. Chains. Weapons. Pain. Its wings were torn in places, membranes burned by plasma fire. Several scales along its chest were cracked, leaking dark heat instead of blood. Every breath hurt. Still, the dragon kept its head raised and its eyes open. Weakness invited cruelty. Footsteps echoed beyond the chamber doors. The dragon's muscles tightened. Fire stirred in its throat, thin and unstable, but ready. It would burn whatever came first, even if it died doing it. The doors opened. No soldiers entered. No armored figures. No targeting lights. No raised weapons. Instead, a small group of humans walked in slowly. They wore plain clothing. No battle armor. No shields. One carried a tablet. Another held a sealed container with a soft blue glow. A third pushed a small wheeled cart filled with tools the dragon did not recognize. They stopped several meters away and did not move closer. The dragon growled, a deep sound that made the chamber tremble. The humans did not flinch. One of them, a woman with dark hair tied back, spoke gently. Her voice echoed, but there was no fear in it. "You're safe," she said. The dragon blinked. Safe was a word no one had ever used near it. Energy fields hummed quietly. The dragon noticed something wrong immediately. The fields were weak. Adjustable. Designed to guide, not restrain. With a single burst of strength, the dragon could break through them, if it had the energy. This was not a prison. The dragon lowered its head slightly, eyes burning with suspicion. The humans remained still. Another human stepped forward just one step and slowly set the glowing container on the floor. Then he stepped back again, hands open, palms visible. "Food," he said. "For you." The dragon laughed, a harsh sound like cracking stone. Food was poison. Food was bait. Food came with hooks. It did not move. Minutes passed. No one attacked. The woman glanced at the dragon's damaged chest scales. Her expression changed, not to fear, but concern. She said something quietly to the others. They nodded. The cart was rolled forward a short distance and stopped. Tools were arranged carefully on the floor, laid out so the dragon could see them clearly. None were weapons. The dragon knew weapons. These were for cutting gently. For sealing wounds. For cleaning burns. That was when the dragon felt something it had not felt in centuries. Confusion. A human knelt. Slowly. Deliberately. Low enough that the dragon could have crushed her with a single movement. She did not bow. She did not beg. She simply sat and waited. "If you don't want help," she said calmly, "we'll leave." The dragon's fire dimmed. This was wrong. Everything about this was wrong. Other species tried to control dragons with fear. With pain. With dominance. Humans were doing none of it. The dragon shifted slightly, and pain shot through its chest. A low, involuntary sound escaped its throat. The woman noticed. "May I?" she asked, pointing gently toward the cracked scales. No one had ever asked the dragon for permission. The dragon did not answer. Slowly, carefully, the human stood and took one step closer. She stopped again, watching the dragon's eyes. Waiting. The dragon could kill her. It knew that. So did she. The dragon did nothing. She approached just close enough to see the damage clearly, then stopped. She did not touch. She only looked, her face serious and focused. "That must hurt," she said softly. The word struck harder than any weapon. For the first time since its capture, the dragon lowered its head, not in submission, but exhaustion. The humans did not celebrate. They did not move suddenly. They simply began preparing to help, as if this outcome had always been possible. High above, behind armored observation glass, other species watched in disbelief. No chains. No weapons. Just humans, standing calmly beside a creature that could end worlds, choosing care where everyone else chose fear. And the dragon, ancient and terrible, realized something unsettling. These humans were not trying to tame it. They were treating it like a living being. And that frightened the dragon more than any cage ever had. The dragon did not sleep. It remained still, eyes half open, watching every movement the humans made. Dragons survived by noticing patterns, and this pattern made no sense. The humans moved slowly, spoke quietly, and never surrounded it. They worked in pairs, never turning their backs, but never acting like hunters either. Time passed. The food remained untouched on the floor. It smelled clean. Real. Not drugged. Not tainted with control chemicals. The dragon tested the air with its tongue, searching for hidden threats. There were none. A human returned carrying a large container of water. Not cold. Not hot. Warm, mineral-rich, adjusted carefully to the dragon's biology. They set it down and stepped away. Whenever you want, one of them said. The dragon hated that sentence. Whenever you want meant choice. Choice was dangerous. Choice could be taken away. Still, the pain in its chest worsened. Every breath rubbed broken scale against burned flesh. Dragons healed fast, but not when exhausted, not when starved, not when hunted across half the galaxy. At last, the dragon leaned forward just enough to lower its snout to the water. It took a small sip, ready to spit it out. The water eased the burning in its throat. The dragon froze. It drank again. Slower this time. Then again, deeper. Warmth spread through its chest, calming the unstable heat leaking from its wounds. No alarm sounded. No restraint snapped shut. The humans did nothing. They simply watched, relieved but quiet, as if even gratitude might scare the moment away. Later, the dragon ate. Carefully. Testing each piece. The food was dense and nourishing, designed to rebuild muscle and heat reserves. Whoever prepared it understood dragons well, or had studied them with respect instead of fear. That realization unsettled the dragon deeply. After feeding, the humans waited. Only when the dragon shifted its injured wing did they move again. The woman from before approached, slower than before, tools in her hands. She stopped well outside striking distance. "We'll clean the burns," she said. "Seal the cracks. It'll help you heal faster." She waited. The dragon watched her eyes. No hunger. No arrogance. No fear. Just patience. It turned its wings slightly, exposing the worst of the damage. The humans did not cheer. They did not rush. They worked like caretakers. The tools hummed softly as damaged tissue was cleaned. Cooling gel was applied to burned membranes. Cracked scales were reinforced with a compound that hardened naturally as the dragon's heat returned. It stung at first, then eased. The dragon growled once, low and warning. The humans paused immediately. "Too much?" the woman asked. The dragon did not answer, but the pain faded quickly. It allowed them to continue. As they worked, the humans spoke, not to command, but to explain. "This part will feel warm. This will itch later. If you need us to stop, we will." No one had ever explained pain to the dragon before. Pain was usually the point. Hours passed. The chamber lights dimmed slightly to reduce stress. The energy fields adjusted, widening the space instead of tightening it. The humans left fresh water and stepped back again. "We'll be nearby," the woman said. "Rest if you can." They left the chamber. The doors closed quietly. The dragon was alone. No traps triggered. No poison spread through its veins. No control signal burned into its skull. It lay down slowly, carefully, testing its body. The pain was still there, but it was manageable now. Healing had begun. That frightened the dragon more than chains ever had. In the observation chamber above, delegates from other species argued in frantic whispers. "This is madness. It will kill them all. You do not heal extinction events." But the humans did not return with weapons. They returned with blankets woven from heat-resistant fiber, placing them near the dragon's side without touching it. "Helps keep the heat steady," one of them said. The dragon stared at the blanket for a long time. Then, slowly, it pulled it closer with one claw. For the first time since it could remember, the dragon slept. Not deeply. Not safely. But enough. When it woke, hours later, no guard stood over it. No scientists pointed devices at its eyes. Only a quiet chamber, steady warmth, and a strange, unfamiliar feeling settling in its chest. The dragon realized something with cold clarity. If the humans wanted control, they could have taken it already. They chose not to. And that meant this was no experiment. This was care. The dragon closed its eyes again, fire steady and calm within its chest, and wondered, uneasily, what kind of species chose kindness when fear would have worked faster. Somewhere in the galaxy, that question would soon change everything. The alarm sounded without warning. It was not loud, but it was sharp, an emergency tone that cut through the quiet chamber like a blade. The lights flickered once, then dimmed further. The soft hum of the energy fields around the chamber wavered. The dragon's eyes snapped open. Instinct took over immediately. Muscles tightened. Fire surged hot and fast in its chest. For centuries, alarms had meant one thing: betrayal. Above the chamber, systems failed in rapid sequence. A power relay overloaded. A nearby station module lost pressure. Automated defenses began to wake up, old ones, not designed for a dragon this size, this close. Inside the control room, humans shouted, not in panic, but urgency. Power fluctuation, Sector 3. Containment fields dropping. Shut down the weapons grid, now. One human was still inside the chamber. He was young. Smaller than the others. He had been checking the stabilizers on the chamber floor when the lights failed. Now he stood frozen several meters from the dragon, staring up at it as the energy field thinned and sparked. He had no weapon. No shield. Only a handheld device that was now dead. The dragon rose to its full height. The humans outside the chamber saw the movement and felt terror grip them. Some shouted to fire the emergency cannons. Others screamed to pull the human out. The woman who had first spoken to the dragon slammed her hand on the console. No weapons, she shouted. Not now. Not ever. Inside the chamber, the young human looked at the dragon and swallowed hard. He did not run. He raised his hands slowly, not in surrender, but to show he carried nothing. His voice shook, but he spoke anyway. It's okay, he said, though he did not believe it. I'm just going to move back. Slowly. The dragon stared down at him. This was the moment the galaxy expected. The moment the stories always told. The dragon could end everything in a single breath. One movement. One strike. Fear pressed against its mind, old and familiar. Then another feeling rose beneath it. Memory. Water easing its throat. Hands that stopped when it growled. Pain treated instead of used. A blanket placed, not thrown. The dragon sensed something else too. The failing systems were about to overload the chamber ceiling. Debris would fall. Fire would follow. The human would not survive it. The dragon moved. Not forward. Between. It stepped over the human, placing its massive body between him and the ceiling. Its wings spread wide, scarred membranes stretching to shield the space below. Heat flared, not as flame, but as controlled force. The ceiling collapsed. Metal crashed down. Sparks exploded. Flames erupted from ruptured conduits. The dragon took it all. Debris slammed against reinforced scales. Fire rolled harmlessly across its back. The heat fed its core, stabilizing instead of harming it. The human fell backward, stunned but alive, protected in the shadow of something ancient and terrible. Outside, the control room fell silent. Sensors spiked wildly, then steadied. Someone whispered, it shielded him. The woman stared at the readings, unable to speak. Inside the chamber, the dragon lowered its wings slowly. Smoke drifted around them. The human coughed, then looked up. The dragon's eye, larger than his entire body, met his gaze. He expected anger. He found none. Thank you, the human said, the words breaking before he could stop them. The dragon did not answer. It stepped back, creating space, and lowered its head slightly, not in submission, but acknowledgement. Emergency teams rushed in once the fires were out. The human was pulled to safety. Medical staff swarmed him, checking for burns that were not there. No one touched the dragon. No one raised a weapon. Word spread through the station in minutes. The dragon had chosen restraint. The dragon had chosen protection. Across the observation networks, alien delegates watched the footage in stunned silence. This was not domination. Not conditioning. Not fear-based compliance. This was a decision. Later, when the chamber was repaired and the lights restored, the woman returned alone. She stopped at the same distance as before. You didn't have to do that, she said quietly. The dragon studied her. Then, slowly, deliberately, it lay down again, relaxed, unguarded. The woman exhaled a breath she had been holding for days. The moment passed into history almost unnoticed by the wider galaxy. But among dragons, among humans, and among those who truly understood power, a new truth took root. Trust, once given freely, could be returned. And when a dragon chose restraint, the universe had better pay attention. The galaxy reacted badly. News of the incident spread faster than any official report. Footage leaked, edited at first, then complete. A dragon, ancient and feared, standing between danger and a single unarmed human. Panic followed. Alien councils called emergency sessions. Military leaders demanded explanations. Religious orders declared it a sign of disaster. To them, dragons were not protectors. Dragons were endings. They blamed humans. "You broke it," one delegate said through a tight transmission. "You conditioned it," said another. "You are creating a weapon you cannot control." The humans listened. They did not argue. They did not deny what happened. They simply repeated the same sentence, over and over. "We did not command the dragon." That answer made the galaxy more afraid, not less. Threats followed quickly. Several powers demanded the dragon be handed over for containment. Others warned that if humans lost control, fleets would intervene. Some quietly began moving ships closer to human space. The dragon noticed. It sensed the change in the station immediately. The air carried tension again. The humans walked faster. Voices lowered. Systems powered up, not weapons, but shields and evacuation routes. No chains appeared. No weapons were brought into the chamber. The woman came to the dragon and stood where she always did. "Others are afraid," she said honestly. "They might do something foolish." The dragon's fire stirred, low and steady. It understood fear. Fear made creatures cruel. The humans did not ask the dragon to fight. They did not ask for loyalty. They did not ask for protection. They simply stayed. When the first foreign fleet arrived at the edge of the system, the dragon felt it like a pressure against its senses. Old instincts screamed to burn first, strike hard, remind the galaxy why dragons were feared. The humans noticed the dragon rise. They did not stop it. They did not encourage it. The woman only said one thing. "We trust you." That was all. The dragon moved to the edge of the chamber, close enough to the stars to feel their heat through the hull. It did not break free. It did not roar. It did not threaten. It simply let its presence be felt. Across the system, sensors spiked. Fleet commanders froze. The dragon's heat signature alone dwarfed entire armadas. Every targeting system struggled to lock. Every tactical prediction ended the same way. Total loss. But the dragon did not advance. It waited. Minutes passed. Then hours. Finally, the foreign fleet stopped moving. No shots were fired. No orders were given. One by one, ships powered down weapon systems and held position. Then, slowly, they withdrew. The message they sent was short and shaken. "We will not interfere." The galaxy watched in stunned silence. The humans did not celebrate. They brought fresh water. They adjusted the chamber temperature. They checked the dragon's healing scales and quietly returned to their work. The dragon lowered itself back into rest, wings folding neatly at its sides. It understood something now. The humans did not stand behind it as masters. They stood beside it as equals. And for the first time in its long, violent existence, the dragon realized it was not being feared. It was being respected. Far across the stars, a new rule began to spread, unwritten, unspoken, but clearly understood. If humans stand calmly in front of a dragon, you should think very carefully about why. The war did not begin with fire. That was what shocked the galaxy most. When the hostile coalition finally decided to act, they expected rage. They expected the dragon to break free, to burn stations and fleets alike, to remind everyone why its name had once entered star systems. Instead, the dragon waited. Human worlds went on alert. Trade lanes rerouted. Civilians were moved quietly and efficiently. No speeches were made. No threats were broadcast. The woman stood in the chamber one last time, the air heavy with unspoken fear. "They're coming," she said simply. "We won't ask you to fight." The dragon's eye opened fully, ancient and clear. It rose. Not in anger. In decision. The energy fields parted without resistance. Systems that once struggled to contain it now stepped aside, rewritten by human hands to allow passage. The dragon moved through the station with care, its massive body navigating narrow space without damage. Outside, the coalition fleet froze. They had expected violence. What they saw instead was restraint. The dragon positioned itself between the fleets and human space. It did not advance. It did not threaten. It did not roar. It waited. The first hostile ship fired anyway. A mistake. The dragon moved faster than prediction models allowed. A single, Precise surge of controlled flame disabled the ship's engines without breaching its hull. No explosion. No loss of life. Then another ship lost power. Then another. Systems failed. Weapons shut down. Command ships found themselves blind and drifting. Panic spread. The dragon did not chase fleeing vessels. It did not scorch worlds. It did not punish beyond necessity. It ended the threat. When silence returned, the coalition was broken, not destroyed, but helpless. The dragon withdrew as calmly as it had advanced, returning to its place near human space. The galaxy stared. This was not a monster. This was judgment. Humans did not claim victory. They sent aid ships. They repaired disabled vessels. They allowed the defeated to leave with their lives and their pride bruised but intact. The dragon watched it all. Later, back in the chamber, now open, unsealed, a place of choice, the woman returned. She stood where she always had. "You protected us," she said. The dragon lowered its head, close enough that the heat of its breath warmed the floor between them. "You protected me first," it said. The words did not echo aloud. They settled into the room, felt rather than heard, understood without sound. The woman smiled, tears in her eyes, and said nothing. Across the galaxy, stories spread. Not of humans taming a dragon. Not of a dragon enslaved by kindness. But of a simple truth that frightened empires more than any weapon ever could. Humans did not use chains because they did not need to. They built trust instead. And when the universe tested that trust, a dragon answered. Final HFY truth. No chains. No weapons. Just humans. And a dragon who chose to stand with them. Dragonfire.